Welcome, 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 everybody. We are live here in today's session. We are so glad you all are here with us to join us for today's session. Today is October 10th, and we are coming to you all again live for a new and exciting workshop. We cannot wait to get into today's topic, but let's get started with some background work. So today, our topic is skills for the workplace. Get them, keep them, right? So today's program, excuse me, is designed to help students learn about soft and hard job skills and how they gain skills, right? So if you guys have not learned about soft skills or hard skills, or even how you gain some of these skills for the work environment, don't worry about it. We got you covered today. So to kind of start off, we want to welcome each and every one of you into the Career Lounge Live session today. Career Lounge Live is here to help you be a greater you. This lounge is designed for middle and high school students to prepare you for life after high school. Failing to plan is planning to fail, and we want to make sure you are able to succeed. We are asking that you all invite your friends to the Facebook group. If you are already a member, simply tag them to this live so that they're able to see everything that we're talking about today. And if you're catching the replay, don't forget to put #replay so that we can still interact with you and any questions that you may have at the time that you're writing the replay. We would love to engage with each and every one of you, so feel free to write any questions that you have in the chat box, any comments, any feedback, so that we can engage with you as well as our speakers for today. While we are waiting for some others to go ahead and join in, we want to do a special thanks to Career Lounge Live. Thanks to Career Live. I'm so tongue-tied today. Special thanks to Career Lounge Live sponsor EXL, a leading data analytics and digital operations and solutions company. To learn more about EXL, please visit them at www.exlservice.com. Thanks to their sponsorship, we're able to bring this lounge to you at no cost. We are absolutely thankful for them. So once again, thank you for tuning in. As we're waiting for more people to join in, we're gonna, of course, make sure you invite people to the Facebook group. If you're already a member, go ahead and tag them into the live so they can get this great information. Don't forget that #replay if you are catching the replay, and please engage with us in the chat box. If you have a question, don't hesitate to ask us. We're here to help you on this journey. So today we are going to go into our session today, and we're going to start off by telling you a little bit more about Love Our Youth, right? So Love Our Youth is a 501c3 nonprofit organization providing programs for youth throughout Central Florida. Our mission is to encourage youth to embrace their self-worth and value life's lessons in order to maximize their potential. Today, we understand that decisions can be made by applying a process, and that learning this process is critical to making all important decisions in life, including those about career choices. So today, we're going to discuss, again, those soft skills, hard skills, and how to gain these skills for the job. Before we get into our topic, we are going to allow our speakers to introduce themselves. Tell us a little bit about yourself and why you chose your current position. So any one of you can start. We can start with, I'll go with who I see first. How about Nan?
Hi, everybody. I'm Nan Sloan Slaughter, and I am a proud employee of EXL Service. Glad to be with you guys today. My background is in healthcare. I've been doing this for 30 plus years. I have the opportunity to work in all facets of healthcare, understanding the needs of the communities and members and patients. I got here because my mother was a nurse and I was a pre-med student, and I was wanting out, and I didn't want to spend 8 years going to med school. So I took the skills that I learned in pre-med, applied it to go into work for software companies that specialize in healthcare. And as I grew my career, I realized I enjoyed the regulations and compliance components. So I work in compliance. It's skills I've learned over the time I've been around, but I really enjoy it. The personal part of me is I've been an advocate for youth for a long time. In college, I worked with youth groups, and I continued that passion. I coach softball for young girls and teach and mentor them in being the best they can be. So I enjoy that mentoring aspect of the youth. I'm a member of Big Brothers and Big Sisters, and I adopt families around holidays to ensure that they can enjoy life as well as be part of a family that normally they might be alone or need support. So I'm glad to be here and part of this journey with Love Our Youth, because they need all the love we can give them, because they're our future.
Thank you so much. That is so awesome. I love, love, love that. We're gonna go and we're gonna pass it to Miss Nafay.
Hi, and thank you for having us here today. I have been with EXL. I'm also a proud employee of EXL. I've been with EXL for 22 years now. I started my career early on as a paralegal. We're just having that discussion offline where, I chose that path because I wanted to be a lawyer, but that didn't happen. We'll know more about that later. But then the next best thing, right? It was something that I was passionate about, and I went down that road. So as a paralegal, I ended up at a local healthcare organization in their legal department. And then from there, because we were in the legal department, I got to understand and learn a little bit more about every single aspect of the organization. And so that gave me a big picture view. And again, from a legal perspective, I moved to the next organization. And so we've been working, I've been here for 20 years, but I've been working with acquisitions after acquisitions to get to this place. And what's interesting about that is that it gave me a lot of soft skills, right? I learned to understand change, to accept change, to be compassionate. So there's a lot of things that come with change that I believe are critical to us being able to be successful in our everyday job. So my job right now here at EXL is I am the Global VP of Healthcare Compliance. So I'm responsible for making sure that the healthcare business unit here at EXL meets all of the regulatory requirements, contractual requirements, and keep us safe and on the right path. So I am responsible also for their Philippines operations, Colombia, India, and the US. So we've got a lot of, again, back to soft skills, learning about what each culture does and how they do it and things like that. So I've been very fortunate in having great mentors, and I'm very happy to be here.
Yes, well, thank you so much for sharing that with us. Love that, the paralegal and the attorney vibe. I was on that path too at one point in life. And so, I understand learning all about that legal space and how it works, and really enjoyed it. So it's great to meet someone else who took that same path, and hope you liked it.
Thank you. I did.
Awesome. So now we're going to go on to Saurabh.
Perfect.
Yes.
Well, thank you. I will say though, I learned about NAFI and NAN more than I knew before. So thank you for that. Well, I originally belong to India, and I've been in the United States for over a decade now, just over a decade now. Belonging to like a middle class joint family back home. I've been aware of a lot of family limitations and expectations growing up, but I've always been a self-starter and a quick learner. So while I was in high school, I'm like, I had made up my mind to move in a direction that I could land a good job here in the States. So after completing my bachelor's in and master's in computer applications and working in India for a couple of years, I ended up here in the United States, first ever in my family. I was strong on the technology side at that time when I started my career, and hence I started as a software developer. In a few years, though, I realized my potential and my skills would be better worth in a role which is more closer to the clients And so I just, started to organically evolve my career through various enterprise program management kind of roles, client delivery, client support, and now eventually I'm working closely with the with various executives, executive client leaders as a strategic client lead, managing quite a few of our strategic accounts, right, with them. So in my role, I am responsible to understand client needs, understand from their shoes the challenges that they're facing, um, grow along with them. So make sure their strategies align with what we have to offer, and just kind of grow in that trajectory along with them. So in my career of about 2 decades now, I've been fortunate and thankful to be working alongside several leaders, mentors, various roles, various teams. And as I said, I mean, I've been a self-starter and a quick learner, and I try to always like look back and reflect on how things are going, and just keep improving. So yeah, it has been a journey with EXL for about 10 years now. Well, 8 years now, give or take, with EXL. I have always been in the healthcare industry, and I really love, like just like Nan, I'm associated with the hospice organization around me. I love to go out there, help in whatever way I could. I mean, I will say I don't add too much value, but it's just being a companion to folks. I think it gives me that satisfaction. I'm a sports person at heart. I love to get out there, do activities whenever I can. I have a wife, a 14-year-old daughter, and a 3-year-old dog. So we are an active family. That's about me.
I love it, love it, love it. Thank you so much for sharing. One thing you said that stuck out to me was you talked about self-reflection and always looking for improvement. I think that's really key to kind of talk about really briefly, because when you get into the workplace, that's definitely something that you want to do. And it was a topic of conversation on our last lounge, where we talked about that self-reflection and making sure that you're still that everything around you is still a good fit. And sometimes that takes self-reflection, where you are now, what your goals are at this point, and moving forward, and always making sure that you're improving on what you were doing. So thank you for sharing that. So thank you. As you guys come into today's meeting, we're getting some people coming in. Please, thank you so much for joining us in today's Career Lounge. Again, our topic for today is skills for the workplace, get them and keep them. And I'm so excited that we have our speakers with us here today to kind of walk us through some of their personal spaces and then the idea of skills for the workplace and what that looks like. And so we're going to go ahead and start the presentation. As you come in, please go ahead, make sure you're inviting friends in, make sure that you are tagging them. If you are already a part of our Facebook group, go ahead and tag them into our live. Excuse me. And we are going to get started today. If you have any questions as we go through this live, please do not hesitate to put your questions in the chat box or in the chat feature. We will do our best to make sure we get all questions answered as we go through today's process. And we are going to go ahead and get started. And there it goes. So for today, our topic today is skills for the workplace, get them and keep them. And like I said, this is such a great topic for all of us today. Can't wait to jump in. So let's get started. So our lesson objectives today, we are looking at soft skills, gaining skills, and job skills. These are going to be our 3 points of reference for today for each one of you that are on here. I was sharing with our speakers today that, I was in a job for so long that when it was time for me to update my resume, they asked me, what are your soft skills? And I was like, I don't even know what that is. And so I had to kind of get briefed on what that looked like and how that fit for me. And I really had to stop for a second and think about what are these skills and how do I separate them? How do I make them come to life on this resume for this job? So today you guys are going to learn about just that. And, you know, I was sharing with them, I said, I wish I knew some of this stuff when I first started, when I was your age. It definitely would have helped on my journey. So we're so excited to bring this information to you today to help you along your journey. Again, if you have any questions as we go through today's presentation, feel free to drop us some questions and we'll definitely get those answered for you. So when it comes to getting a job, right? Many employers look for two kinds of skills, and that is going to be your soft skills and your hard skills. And it's really important that you know, what are you good at? That's a question you're going to hear a lot. What are you good at as you go through this journey? And so start taking notes, start writing down things as they come to mind about things that you're good at, things that you enjoy doing. Because what you'll find is that will help you figure out some of these soft skills and some of these hard skills. And so we're going to go ahead and turn it over to our first speaker, Saurabh, and to talk about what those soft skills look like.
Yeah, thank you, Liz. I'll start by saying the soft skills are such a core to us as a human being. And I think they have been all along, right? I mean, since the ancient history, you know, when we didn't know, we were just reacting to everything just like an animal would probably. But gradually we started to build upon, we started to you know, put one and one together. We started to make sense out of things. We understood why rain happens, you know, what causes fire. And just because we got curious, just because we learned, and not only learned, we communicated, we collaborated with others, right? So I think from the get-go, you know, it is extremely important to understand what these are and then kind of relate to those. So before we step into a work environment, the soft skills, in my opinion, define who we really are or who we really want to become. I also, while I was, you know, looking at the content and reviewing some of it, I felt calling them soft skills really takes the importance away a little bit. In my opinion, these skills should really be called the core skills, right? These have to be a foundation of how you progress. And we will see a little bit of that, you know, in the subsequent parts of the presentation. But because these are core skills to developing any other teachable skills, you know, and are responsible to bring just the overall transformation of a human being. So if you know, I like how this is laid out, right? So soft skills are also called people skills. Let me just minimize here. People skills or work readiness skills. They are your personality, attitudes, manners, including the way you talk, listen, make eye contact, dress, right? So how many, I mean, not a lot of times we pay attention to all of those things in every scenario. So employers do look for soft skills during interviews, and, you know, promoting existing employees. And very rightly said, you can practice them by talking to friends, families, and counselors. So I think the question that pops to mind is, what are some of these core skills or soft skills? When do we start accumulating them, and how many of these do we really need, and to what extent to become like a well-rounded, successful person? So I think about in my family, I'm the middle of the three siblings with an elder brother and a younger sister. I remember while growing up, I was one of the quieter kids, more soft spoken, helpful in usual day-to-day chores. Um, on the other hand, my elder brother was loud, and he was really a mess maker. um, he used to always be so-called baking things, right? Like opening up a new toy, separating it in a way that it could never be put together again. He had no interest in studies, but he would go out and hang out with kids who were elder, who used to be mechanics, who used to work with some sort of machines. Uh, I mean, given the so-called negligence towards studies and house chores, and by the way, also being compared to the other two siblings, that is me and my sister, I think his attitude was even, he became more loud, more disrespectful. He was punished more often by parents and others. But not too long after, he was also being perceived as that kid who's always angry, right? He's always causing stress for others. No one understood, that what he was a curious kid, right? He noticed problems in things that others wouldn't care or wouldn't notice. I mean, leave alone, solving them. um, and I think a large part of this behavior um, also says a lot about the Indian culture back then, right? Because at the time, and it has changed quite a bit, but at the time there were highly desirable careers which were more around, becoming a doctor, an engineer, and a lawyer. um, so I think some of the thought process was coming from that. But I'm proud to say, right, given all of that, and despite of all of the challenges, my brother's basic nature was that of curiosity, of problem solving. He was very creative. Um, he continued to strive, and he built his small business, dealing with manufacturing batteries and other electrical components for home appliances, and he's doing great. And while he's doing very well at his work today, why he still struggles with communication and collaboration aspect, of his day-to-day work or with family. Um, and and some of those habits have been has they're so deep. It still, that underlying anger, the short-temperedness, it impacts his growth at work too, and impacts the business negatively too. So even though he's an excellent technician, certain people do not want to deal with him. I mean, because of his arrogant nature and lack of compassion, or poor communication, or the way he communicates. So why this story, right? I mean, this is a very, key aspect of my life. But the story essentially outlines certain core skills that play in one's life, and it also demonstrates how, if you don't act upon those to improve, you may be missing reaching your fullest potential, right? So how do you, I mean, essentially, how do you act? And when I say act, I'm really like, there are acronyms that I've come up for myself, that I every now and then look back and reflect. There are certain key characteristics of you as a person, that will make you succeed in a long term or not, right? I mean, whether you have those or not, how well, how not, how not good those are. And it is important to be aware of those. So the first thing is to be aware of what characteristics, what skills do you see yourself as being critical for you to succeed, right? Once you're aware, you need to be you need to be closely observing those in each and every aspect of life, be it with work, with family, other personal aspects of life, right? So you need to be collaborative. When you are, and now the next step is knowing when you're not being collaborative, right? And every aspect, and there are a lot of such instances that keep happening throughout the daily lives. And once you are aware, you closely observe, now you know which of those are conducive and which are not conducive or acting against you, that you need to work on. In other words, how do you transform them, right? So essentially, I mean, and I'm limiting this conversation just to make sure we are, talking about the ones listed here on the left, but there are several of the soft skills or core skills that you can, you can think of, can gather, and um, build upon, right? We already touched on a few. I mean, you hopefully gathered how important is storytelling, right? So I shared a personal aspect, hopefully came across as an authentic, it's a true story, right? So storytelling is also very important. I mean, I think it's a very key. My 14-year-old daughter, she comes back from school, and she had a basketball game, and she comes back and she tells me about this one, um, one other girl, who's playing against their team, and how she's behaving nasty, or throwing out nasty comments on the basketball court, and how her side, the girl side of the, whether it be parents, aunts and uncles, they're cheering them, and these guys lose the game, and then their team is disappointed just because of the behavior on the court by the other team. uh, in my mind, I'm hearing all of that story, right? And the next time when I go for an open house or something, somewhere where we have the parents as well, without having ever talked to the parents or the girl itself, I already have made up my perception. I've already started to judge the family, and so essentially, the storytelling could be that strong, right? It could change perspectives, it for good, for bad. Think about Martin Luther King, think about Mahatma Gandhi, right? Those thoughts and views and stories that changed lives and worlds. um, so essentially, I mean, I will take a pause just after. When I look at some of these listed here on the left, right, from my personal experience, and just for the ease of conversation, I would categorize these core skills into outward looking or outward facing skills and inward facing skills, right? So like storytelling, collaboration, and communication, they are more outward looking or outward facing skills where you're dealing with someone, right? The others, problem solving, curiosity, and creativity, are more inwards, right? You need to develop those skills internally, right? And in my mind, while both of them are very important, I think the outward looking ones hold a higher ground, a little bit of a higher ground, just for a simple reason, right? Think about my brother. He's an extremely well-rounded technician internally, super smart about machines and things, but he is disliked just because of the outward facing skills of communication and collaboration.
Thank you so much. That was absolutely awesome. I would have to agree, as you broke down some of those soft skills and which ones are inward and outward. I absolutely agree with that. And knowing the difference between them can definitely help you on your journey when looking for a career or being inside a career if you already have a job, and understanding which ones are which ones sit on which side. So the inward ones, if you're problem solving or if you're curious, those are things that you're working on the inside. But communication is definitely outward. And it's something that, even if you're not good at communication, there's levels to communication to think about. It doesn't have to be what you see everyone else do, but the level of communication that allows you to work your job or be in your space that you need to be to accomplish what you're looking to do is the level that you need to be in. For some people, that's a lot higher, and for some people, it's a little bit lower. But you have to do what fits for you. So thank you so much for that. We're going to move into, so that's soft skills. And now we're going to move into those job skills that you have. So Nan, we're going to pass it over to you.
All right, thanks a lot. So job skills or hard skills are really not the right term for this, because in my opinion, these are growth skills. These skills can lead you to taking what you do in your everyday life and turning it into a passion. Yes, they require some type of education or skills, but as you grow and you're already in school, you're learning how to read, how to write, you're seeing how a teacher teaches you. And those actionable skills that you're seeing every day help you grow and learn and become who you want to be. And you take those with those soft skills as mentioned, the creativity, that helps you maybe become a chef. If you are somebody who loves to cook and you're wanting to further your passion in becoming a chef, you don't have to have a college degree to do that. You can go become to a community college and get a certificate. And sometimes you don't even have to do that. You just have to be willing to learn and grow and take someone's help, and they'll share their knowledge, impart that knowledge with you. So you don't always have to have a college degree. Education comes in all forms. It's certifications, it's college, but not everybody's cut out to go to college, as we know. There's so many great jobs out there that do not require a college education, but they require those growth skills, those soft skills, those life experiences to help you go and be yourself and be who you really want to be. I think about what we just heard, and it's amazing. I have a brother that he wasn't college material. He went to a junior college, took his accounting courses, and today he owns 5 restaurants. But he doesn't have a college degree, but he has the interpersonal skills. He knows how to keep his books because he learned mathematics and accounting. He knows how to teach others and mentor others to grow. So those are things to me that are also hard skills besides what you're looking at. Plumbing, welding, those are certifications that you can go to a trade school. Be proud of who you want to be. If you are somebody who loves to read and you have a passion to read, you may be a writer. Take some classes online, learn. Harvard has so many free classes out there available to you that you don't have to go to college. They're the college level classes, but they're giving them to you for free. You have to be committed though. Hard skills require you to be committed to a length of time. It could be a week. It could be 2 days. It could be 6 months. And there's opportunities. LinkedIn offers the ability for you to have educational courses at no cost. There's places called Coursera. Yes, some of them charge, but Coursera helps you take something you're doing in your everyday life. If you like to play video games, you may have an aptitude to be a programmer. Why not test it out with using something like Coursera that says, here, why don't you take a basic Python programming course to see if you like it? Well, you know what? Maybe I found out I don't like that, but I like the front end design part. So let me see if they have something on design. That helps set your stage as you want to grow. When I went to college, my first thought was I'm going to be a doctor. My mother was a nurse. She encouraged all of us to be, and my dad encouraged us, we don't care what you do, but do what makes you happy, right? So I was going, yeah, I want to be a doctor. I got there and I could not commit to 8 years of medical school after doing my pre-med. I took that knowledge though and went to work for a software company doing implementations and learning about healthcare from a different perspective and in software. And that's why I'm where I'm at today. But I chose a path, realized, well, yeah, that's not really what I want to do. But I took the opportunity to take those skills and learn from them and direct it somewhere else. And not everybody can afford school. And that's why I recommended some of the programs like Harvard, Coursera, LinkedIn, to get your feet wet. That gives you an idea if your passion that you are thinking about right now is transferable to what you want to do and how you get there. And those programs also provide mentors for you to help you grow. And I wouldn't be where I'm at today if it wasn't for my mentors, people that reached out to me and wanted to see me grow. And that is why I believe EXL is here representing this, is we want to see the youth grow, whether it be in a technical fashion, a programmer, because you're a great program solver, you are creative and you want to be a writer. Creativity leads to marketing jobs. Think about it. A good marketing person is creative. Creativity is your soft skill. Marketing is your growth skill or your hard skill. So they work hand in hand. Programming, you have to have that analytics knowledge. You got to also be a problem solver, because what if your code doesn't work? You got to go back and figure out why it's not working, where something in that line of code may be incorrect. So those things help. But if you don't go the path of the technical, but more in lines with trades, those jobs are in demand. They're creative because you work with your hands. You have to know you're good with your hands. You might be a great builder. You learn how to read blueprints, those kind of things. Those are teachable skills, and you don't get those in a college, generally speaking, unless you're going to be an architect, but you can go get them in a trade school. And a lot of your high schools now have great trade programs. They have a lot of your medical assistant programs to see if that's really where you want to head, and maybe be a doctor or a lawyer and get you going down those right paths. And they can help you see your potential early on and direct you where you can get assistance in going to college. Don't ever rule yourself out if you don't feel like the money's there. Where there's a will, there's a way. I came from a middle-class background. My dad worked for the government. My mom was a nurse, but she was disabled when I was in second grade. We paid our own way through college. We had the desire to be what we wanted to be because our parents taught us that. There's ways to do it, and there's people willing to help. You seek those people out that you are comfortable with, and they will lead you to the opportunities. And those skill sets that you bring by going to school right now and learning while you're in school, being that overachiever, reading and writing, right? Making sure you understand mathematics, that you can balance a checkbook, or know how much is on your debit card, or how much you can spend on your phone bill. Am I going over my limits on texting? Those kind of things. Those skills are really hard skills, and they're life skills, and they move you in the right direction. But don't ever be afraid to try something new. I'm not a welder, but who knows? Maybe I want to become a sculptor. I'm sitting here doodling on a piece of paper. Well, maybe I'm an artist. But there's so many things you can do by taking what you've learned in school, because that's where those hard skills come in, because they're measurable. We want to graduate, so you have to have those skills to graduate, and that's your reading, writing, mathematics, science courses, your foundation, and those lead into better things. And those, I believe, where you'll gain skills, where the next person's going to, Nathan's going to talk about. But think about everything you do today in your day-to-day life. How much technology do you deal with? You guys are highly technical right now, and you probably don't even realize it. Leverage that knowledge that you have using your computer, your phone, and see where you want to go. And then lean on your teachers, lean on your educators, lean on your communities to help you out. That's what I believe I'm here for, we're here for, is to help our youth grow and be the best they can be, because you're our future leaders. So I hope that helps.
Thank you so much, Nan. Yes, that's awesome. I love everything you said. I was over here like, yep, that's right. But seriously, everyone on the call, take to heart what she's saying about the technology that you're working with today. And it may seem like it's regular everyday things, but the skills that you're learning with that technology, I've seen people start entire businesses, videography businesses with a cell phone. You know, so take that into consideration. Like, people are starting an entire business with just their cell phone, and becoming successful at it because they are teachable, because they are learning how to measure their abilities and use that to gain the skills needed to meet the criteria for the job. So don't take for granted even some of the things that are a part of your everyday life. They can contribute to the hard skills or job skills or growth skills, as we're calling them, to get you to that next level. So we're going to move on in the process.
It's if
Yes.
I may just add, I mean,
Absolutely.
it resonates so much what Nan said. I think it applies to the soft skills as well as the hard skills, so-called, both the skills, right? It just how do you transform? Like, what do you do? Like, there's a lot to do about breaking that inertia, like, challenging the status quo. People don't do that. I mean, yes, I wanted to do something, but then I get lazy, right? I mean, I know there are tools out there, but then I don't set goals, or I set goals but I don't follow along, right? Asking for support and just, yeah, I mean, a lot of things, and then keep practicing. I just wanted to add that, because that kind of applies to both kind of skills.
Great points.
Yes, absolutely. Nafay?
So I'm actually laughing here because what happens when you go last is that everybody before you starts touching on points that you're going to make, right? So I'm going to definitely talk about gaining skills, but one of the things I want to focus on is in my experience, and I have two grown children who are very different from each other. And we'll talk a little bit about what I tell them to do, right? But my biggest, one thing I want you guys to all take away from this conversation is always learn, always understand yourself and what you think your limitations are, because they're really not your limitations, but that's okay. You need to know what you think they are so you can overcome them, and do not ever pass up an opportunity. So we've talked about different ways to learn and gain your skills in college or high school, or even middle school. So and I just want to say this about hard skills, right? You could never give them enough credit, right? So let's think about the core and the foundation, right? Like, how many times my kids came from school and like, oh, why do I need to learn math? Like, who cares? Or fractions, or whatever that may be, right? But they are valuable, they're important, and although where you are maybe today it may not make any sense, those core hard skills are going to set the foundation for everything you do in life. It may not seem like it today, but as you're learning every single step of the way, then you get to college and you've got a whole other set of skills that will come to you that all relate to those hard skills. But obviously we know the way to learn and gain our skills are, while we're on the job. I learned almost everything that I know for my current position and what I've chosen to do really on the job, right? And then, of course, then I went to college courses and I focused on, paralegal studies, or I go to conferences and learn on compliance and what new regulation is coming up, and I listen to the government speak and what's happening. So of course, it's a combination, but the core skills, the foundation, I learned on the job. At school, obviously 100%, right? Again, back to my point, you need to make sure that you're focusing on those core skills and on those skills that are trained, and that foundation. I guess I'll call it a foundation. It's so important. And you learn a lot of other things at school too, right? You learn to communicate, you learn to have friends, you learn to negotiate, you learn to do all these other things that are super important going forward. You learn every single day from your friends and family. Just listen, right? And one of the things that Nan pointed out that I had on my list to talk to you about is feedback, right? How do you know what skills you lack well, or you're good at? Perfect thing is to go to your friends, your family. What do you think I'm good at? Or, give me some feedback on whatever I just happen to have tackled in life or at this very moment. Feedback. Do you think that I'm a good communicator? Do you feel that, my son is an introvert? So one of his issues is he knows the core. He's got all the hard skills to do his job. He's a vet tech today. He's never good at school, but he decided that, listen, I better do something, right? So I was like, all right. So he went the certification tech route, and he loves it. He loves animals. It's perfect, right down his alley, but he's very introverted. So what does his reviews always come back? You're not really taking initiative. You're not showing initiative. You're not showing, good communication. So I tell them this all the time, right? So important to learn to communicate, get out of your comfort zone. What you're thinking in here needs to come out this way so that you can communicate with your bosses, your peers, your friends. We're all on the same page, we understand. And every single boss is going to look at this as something of value, right? As an employer, which I was at one point, and we had our own business. I started my own business in this space that we're in today. I looked for every single person I interviewed. I wanted to see some initiative. I wanted to see how they communicated with me, how they expressed what they knew. How did they make me feel about them, right? And what else did I want to know about them? Where did they gain their knowledge? How did they communicate this information? So all of this is learned. You can learn a lot of this, right? In your day-to-day engagements at school, at home. Of course, there's always, again, touching on Nan's point, you've got LinkedIn, you've got YouTube, online training materials. There's webinars, a lot of webinars out there that train on a lot of these subjects that we're talking about today. There's TED Talks. I love TED Talks sometimes. They touch on all kinds of points, right? And these are professionals, usually in their field, that come out and tell you like the practical parts of what we need to learn every day. There's, again, short-term training programs online. For example, this new generative AI thing that's coming out today, right? Artificial intelligence, we're all about it. So I needed to learn about it. I didn't know anything. And obviously, as compliance officer, my job is to make sure that the tools that we use protect privacy and security of the data and our infrastructure. So I had to go out and learn. And I'm thinking, where do I start? Google, go figure. So Google had all these great courses out there free, that I was able to take and pull it in and at least understand what we're talking about here and what the risks are and how great and how dangerous it could be, which we could debate that on another session with you guys. And obviously college, if you're in high school and, and again, I know this is hard, it's a great commitment, but I've got a lot of family and friends of my children that what they did is, okay, I'm a senior. I'm going to take 3 college courses. Let me get out there. Let me jump ahead of the game and make it more challenging because, that's what they wanted to learn. They wanted to get out there and get ahead of the game. So that's always an option. And I think, again, it was been touched on before, but get a mentor, a teacher that you click with, a teacher that may be in that same space that you think you may want to follow. Again, if someone just out there in a job that's related to something, and you'd be surprised if you go meet someone and they're in the space that you think you may want to, follow. People love, believe it or not, to talk about their experiences, their expertise, and they love, and most of us love helping others. So if you come to us and say, or somebody that you meet and say, hey, I really am interested in this. What do you think? Can we talk some more? Can we have coffee? Can we, can you mentor me a little bit over time? The other thing I would suggest, and this is something that I'm trying to do myself, is to set a goal for yourself. Small little goals, right? It doesn't have to be a huge thing. Small goal. Okay, I'm going to work on A, B, and C on myself, on figuring out what I want to do, on learning a skill, an hour a day, half an hour a day, whatever that may be. And then you track your success that way. And you'll see that, it's a concerted effort to stop and think and say, I have to stop right now and spend some time on this. That's very important to me. And you go down that road. And then as you check your days off and you meet that goal that you set for yourself, you will feel better. You'll feel good about yourself. Like, I'm moving ahead. I'm getting things done. If you think you already know what you like, one of the best ways to figure out if you really, either you're a fit for the position or something that will make you feel better in life and something you want to pursue, pull out job descriptions, right? There's a bunch of job descriptions everywhere online. I don't know. I want to be, let's say, use vet tech as my son's decision. We pulled them all out and said, okay, what are they looking for? What kind of skills do they want to see? What is required of this job? And then we made a list, right? And it's like, okay, well, you need this, you need that, you need to get you need to be certified, you need to get a license, and how do you do that? Okay. So every single day, there was a little bit that he did every day to get there. So that's something that I feel is something that everybody recommends. And I did a little reading for a presentation, and I saw that over and over again, right? Set yourself small goals, find programs that are aligned with what you're doing and what you like to do. There's all kinds of courses on soft and hard skills, job skills that I'm sure that are out there that we can find, and that's where I go. And then practicing on your own, right? So if you know that you may not be good at a certain thing, maybe communication, and I know this is going to sound silly, but stand in front of the mirror and talk to yourself. Practice a speech, or tomorrow I have to speak to so and so. What am I going to? By the way, I do this all the time. Still, and I'll just practice and say, okay, this is what I'm thinking. This is what I'm going to, and I practice, a couple of times before I go meet my boss, or I go in for my job review every year, or we have a client presentation. Sarah, knows this very well. We do those all the time where, there may be some face-to-face presentations, whether it's your teams or otherwise, and I practice those all the time, just to make sure that, I'm in the right space and I'm focused on what I want. So again, you can do whatever you put your mind to do. And there are hundreds of resources for you to reach out and pull from these great spaces. And the only thing that you need to keep in mind is do not sell yourself short. You can do, I keep telling, and I say this to my kids every day, you can do whatever you put your mind to do. You just have to focus on it and push forward. So I'll leave you with that. And if any of us can do anything to help you, please just reach out to us. We love our youth and we're here to assist you.
Yes, thank you so much for that. That was amazing. All of you were absolutely amazing in providing information. Definitely when gaining skills, I love that you gave us actionable steps, setting goals for ourselves, tracking our success. That is absolutely amazing, because having those moments where you are actually able to reflect on what you've done because you're tracking those goals. Setting those goals gives you something to look forward to, something to obtain. And it keeps you going, like it keeps you focused, which is a major thing when you're in a job space, staying focused on what it is that you want for yourself. As well as making sure it aligns with the career path that you're currently in. And so that is a very key thing to think about. But yes, all the different ways to gaining these skills, it's all around you. It's all around you. And like you've heard, it doesn't necessarily always take place in a classroom. Sometimes you self-teach yourself things. You have things like YouTube and Google and Coursera and all these different spaces that will give you information. Facebook, YouTube, all these social media sites that you are on probably day in and day out are all spaces where if you weed through everything else, you'll find the real content that will help you grow. So utilize that information that you have. It's right at your fingertips already. You don't have to do anything extra except for maybe type in a word or two to find what you're looking for in that search. So this does round out our today's session. With everything that we have spoken on today, we definitely want you to take all of this information in, and we want you to go up and be great. Use this information to get you to that next level. Use this information at the stage that you're at now to really build and think about what space you want to be in, how you want to show up in that space. Think about what you're good at, skills that you have that maybe you didn't think were really skills to tell anybody about because you just do it every day. But take a minute and write some of that down. What does that look like for you? And based on our presentation today, separate those skills out into what you feel are your soft skills as well as your hard or growth skills. And then you can write your third list as to what are some skills you want to gain. There might be something that you want to know how to do, and there may be some skills that you need to gain in order to be able to do that. We heard on here about there are times where being a doctor or a lawyer were, things that people aspire to do, but that's all things that you learn. You have to take classes, you have to work at that, you have to stay focused, you have to set goals in that space. But even if you didn't want to be a doctor or a lawyer, even if you're saying, I want to be an entrepreneur, or I want to be a gamer, or, something in that field, there's still goals that you have to set. And there's a way that you can track those goals to make sure that you're actually being successful in that space. So take a look at those things. Again, all of our speakers are here and definitely willing to answer any questions that you have. I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing my screen, but I would love for our guest speakers today, if you have any final words that you would like to talk to us about. We'd love to hear any final words before we close out today's session.
Just don't set limitations.
Yeah.
Yeah, just go for it. You won't know until you try it.
I love it. Don't set limitations. Go for it.
So true. So true. I'll just echo something that relates with that, but something Nefi said, a couple of things, very, very important, right? So reflect. I mean, and she said it differently, but you can take feedback from your peers, your family, but essentially you are reflecting all the way along, where you are headed. And then she said such a profound thing about small goals, right? So how do you eat an elephant? Bite size, right? So have to make sure that you don't set yourself up for failure by setting large goals. That's a mistake everyone makes. And then to track it. So I feel very content when in the morning I've made like a checklist of 10, 12, 15 very simple items. It could be as simple as sending this email to a client, which I was anyways going to do. But then as I start to check that off on a piece of paper or like, a notepad or some sort, it feels more, I feel more organized. I feel that I made progress, and I can look at that and say, okay, 7 of them are green, 3 red for tomorrow, but I still know I made progress. So very important what Nefi said about those things and how you approach the goals. So thank you.
And I just want to add, there's so much technology out there as well right now to help us do our planning, do our jobs better. So let's not undervalue things like, and these are more hard skills, but it's learning PowerPoint, Excel, Outlook, how to track your notes on Outlook, for example, your tasks, anything that would make your future job, whatever that may be, easier and better. It is so important in today's environment, right? Like I am not by any means good at PowerPoint, but I know I've got to learn it. So I've signed up for a class now because I tried to do one the other day for my boss, and it's kind of like, I could do better. So, I have to learn, right? I need to understand that those are, to me, they're hard skills, but they're key to any job in today's environment. So let's not undervalue those in your path. I agree.
Thank you all so much for today's session. Our next career lounge, for everybody that is tuned in today, our next career lounge will be October 17th, 2023. Again, we ask you to invite a friend to come out to the career lounge and hear the wonderful topics that we're talking about. If they would like, they can join us at our link. It's bit.ly/EXL career. We'll put that in the chat for you as well. And we also want to make sure that we give a special thanks to our speakers today, as well as the Career Lounge Live sponsor, EXL, a leading data analytics and digital operations and solution company. We ask that you learn more information about EXL at www.exlservice.com. Thanks to their sponsorships, we're able to bring this lounge to you at no cost. Again, we want to thank you all for joining us today. Thank our wonderful speakers for today, all of you who have signed in, engaged with us during the chat as we went through today's session. We want to thank you. We hope to see you all next week. Again, October 17th is our next Career Lounge Live, and we hope that you will join us for today. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Liz. Great job.
Yeah.
Thanks, everyone.
You're welcome. Thank you, everyone. Okay. All right. Well, thank you, everyone that's on. We're going to go ahead and sign off, and we'll see you all next week.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.